Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Popped In, your home for all things pop culture. And today we are going to be talking about really a franchise I've wanted to talk about for a very long time. And I don't think I've ever made a video about this franchise. And as you can tell, that is the Lord of the Rings slash Middle Earth franchise. And the fact that we finally are revisiting that for the first time in quite a long time. And I'm super stoked to be returning to this world because Lord of the Rings is my second favorite franchise of all time, and the original trilogy of movies are my three favorite movies of all time. Or three most favorite? Is that the way to say it? I don't know. Anyways, they're my favorite movies of all time, so I'm super excited for this series to return to the spotlight. Last year we had the War of Rohirrim animated movie, which a lot of people kind of iffy on, but I personally loved it. I think that it really fit right in to the lore and the story that we have so far, and revisiting a period that we've never really seen in the past. And I just hope that we are able to get more movies like that that tie into the current lore that we have from the original trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, and stuff, and explore the other cracks of that universe beyond those movies. But I would be remiss to pretend that I'm completely happy with no worries at all, because there is one glaring flaw that causes me to be a little concerned with the future of these movies, and we'll talk about that in this video. So the first live action installment that takes us back to the Lord of the Rings franchise is The Hunt for Gollum, a prequel that follows, as you probably guessed it, Gollum as he's being chased down by Sauron and some good guys as well, to prevent him from spreading the news that the ring has fallen into the possession of Bilbo Baggins and is being held in the Shire. And the movie is directed by Andy Serkis. We got a lot of the creative heads behind the original trilogy coming back for this one, Peter Jackson himself. And now there's of course been a lot of talk about who else might be returning in the cast department. With Andy Serkis, of course, he's directing, he's going to be playing Gollum as well. And in August at a convention, Ian McKellen sort of dropped hints that he came out and confirmed right out that Gandalf and Frodo are both in the movie. Him and Elijah Wood were both at the convention, but they kind of were keeping it a little quiet. But you can kind of put two and two together and figure that him saying that is pretty much as close as you can get to confirmation that Frodo and Gandalf will be both returning in this movie, played by their respective actors. This is further compounded by Elijah Wood himself coming out and saying, "I know a great deal about it. I've read the script. It's really good. There's some wonderful people involved. The thing that is so exciting is that it is really getting the creative band back together." He goes on to say the brain trust behind Lord of the Rings, Fran, Peter, Philippa, they're heavily involved. And then the same production designers. It's going to be shot in New Zealand. So it's going to carry with it such continuity with so many people who are a part of the Lord of the Rings. And I'm really excited about that. It feels like that getting that old machine up and running again with all the right people. So him having so much inside information also kind of reiterates the fact that he will be returning to play Frodo, which you kind of would expect with what Ian McKellen said. But yeah, it's kind of written on the wall there, so to speak. But we also know that Aragorn in the lore was one of the people sent to track down Gollum by Gandalf. And there's a fan film from 2009, a very iconic fan film for Lord of the Rings, that follows that side of the story. So a lot of fans immediately are thinking Aragorn might play a large part here. And Viggo Mortensen, I do believe, has stated he would be open to returning as Aragorn. And I also think Orlando Bloom has mentioned that he would like to return as well. And with him coming back for The Hobbit, I definitely could see them bringing him back for this movie as well. But this all leads into the big problem that I have with these movies. And it's the fact that, the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out over 20 years ago. The first one came out in 2001, the second in 2002, and then the third in 2003. And the Hobbit movies are over 10 years ago. And the fact that these actors are all so much older, regardless of the fact that we've lost a couple actors already with Christopher Lee and I believe, I thought there was more, but Christopher Lee is the only one coming to mind at the moment. But, all the Hobbit actors, they're all so much older. John Rhys Davies, I'm not sure how much he gets around anymore, and Ian McKellen as well, which, there is the possibility they de-age the actors. I mean, that is the most likely thing here. But there's only so much you can do in the budget without making it overloaded and overblown. Because if you have Aragorn or Gandalf as main characters, de-aging them, well, Gandalf you don't need to de-age as much because he's going to have the beard and the hat and everything. But Aragorn being front and center, Viggo Mortensen, he doesn't look the same as he did back around 2000. So it's going to be hard with people like him to make them look like they did back 20 years ago. But, it's kind of like a better of two evils, because it's like, would you rather just recast the roles? Because that's the biggest problem that was what made Lord of the Rings so good, is the casting, the crew behind it. They were all so perfect. It was like a match made in heaven, because I could not imagine anybody else playing these roles besides the cast that we got. So you don't really want to recast, but then it's like, if you don't do that and then you just have the older actors, it kind of makes it feel like, a little too late. Like, the perfect time to do this would have been back when the Hobbit movies came out, and do a couple of spinoffs around that time. But waiting till now, which, of course, this is the age of the reboot and relaunching things, but it just feels late. And while I'm completely ecstatic that we're getting back into this franchise, I can't help but feel a little worried that, having to de-age the actors, or some being maybe too old to even do it, it's a bit of a concern for the future of this franchise. But, I say all that just to say I'm still super excited for what this franchise has to offer, because I've always been a big advocate for the fact that Lord of the Rings is one of the most underutilized franchises in, like, any medium, really. Movies, TV shows, video games, they could do so much with Lord of the Rings that they don't. Until just recently, getting the Rings of Power, we've only gotten one show. Video games, they used to be coming out with a bunch back in the day. But it's just been so underutilized. So I'm very, very happy to be getting back into it. And be it adaptations of, like, the Silmarillion, or stories in the appendices like The Hunt for Gollum and stuff. Anything like that, I'm super excited for. So I am looking forward to this movie more than you can realize. It's probably in my top 5 most anticipated movies in the next 2 years. And I'm only going to get more excited once we get these actors announced. But there's always going to be something in the back of my mind wondering how it will work until we actually get to see it. But let me know what you guys think about this. If you kind of have the same worries I do, or if you think I may be overlooking it, or if you don't want them to touch Lord of the Rings at all. I know that is a concern with some people, that, trying to expand it like they did with The Hobbit from 1 book to 3 movies, that it can be a little worrying, and I understand that, but I'm just excited as a fan to finally get back into this world. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I do have more ideas planned for Lord of the Rings videos. I am planning on doing one about characters that could appear in The Hunt for Gollum, beyond the ones we talked about in this video. So keep an eye out for that. Let me know if you want to see more videos about Lord of the Rings. Give me some ideas if you got some, or if you want to see anything else, really, because I've done Star Wars videos, I've done Marvel, DC stuff in the past. Really anything. If you guys want to hear about it, let me know. Sound off down below, and I will try and do my best. But thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. As always, if you did, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.